Hey everyone, this is Nick from Tenacity.ai with my co-host Jason. Today we're continuing our FinOps series. We're going to dive into what are the benefits of actually incorporating FinOps into your organization. I think first we want to sort of talk about some of the problems you might face to understand some of the benefits. So I guess, Jason, right out the gate, what is the problem that organizations face pre-FinOps discipline but having moved to cloud or at least adopting cloud?
Oh, lack of control from a procurement perspective. The legacy way of reviewing costs doesn't really work necessarily in the cloud, because I can make a decision today that changes my bill right now, as opposed to making a change today that may affect it in a month or a quarter. So that speed of being able to deploy and change things has caused internally these issues where I'm not up to date, right? And as a business, let's say unit owner, CEO, CFO, whatever the case may be, I'm not up to date in understanding what my costs are going to be in the cloud until it's too late. And so you come with spending surprises, projects stall because once you have one of these happen, then the entire organization goes, wait a minute, what? We just had this huge spending issue here. We've got all these projects on the bus. Halt them until we figure out how to make sure that this doesn't happen with those projects. So delays in delivery, spend issues, and lack of control where there used to be some in finance and procuring. Not just control. It's not only about control. It's lack of complete visibility into what's going to happen and how do I prepare my board, my shareholders, whoever the case may be for these things.
So we had a process in place, right? That an approval process for acquiring technology. Cloud has broken that, and it's kind of
it's here to stay. It's not going to change.
It's completely scrambled. It's completely scrambled that procurement process. So where there was, excuse the analogy here, but this waterfall procurement process of I do all my research up front and I go talk to all these vendors and then I, go through various approvals to approve the technology, and now I have it for the next 3 to 5 years. That's been completely wiped out. Mm-hmm. And it has done exactly what you said. It's created kind of chaos inside of these organizations. So when we think about the players inside of FinOps, you of course have engineering, and you of course have finance, but you also have procurement and all the stakeholders and decision makers that were inside of that process. They're feeling a lack of visibility. They're feeling frustration at the variability of cloud spending. So then, why are organizations then going to cloud? I mean, if it creates this chaos, why use the cloud? What's the benefit of cloud?
Well, because the smart organizations know that you leverage the cloud for velocity, innovation, increased revenue, the ability to react to market pressures faster than I could have before.
Right.
I mean, going to the cloud isn't necessarily. I mean, could you potentially save some money? Yes. Right. I mean, that's definitely possible because I'm going to use what what I need to use. But it's not necessarily the goal of using the cloud. The goal of using the cloud is to grow, to become, to generate more revenue, to be more innovative, and to get things done faster than I ever can before. And because of those benefits, it causes chaos from a spending and utilization perspective.
Right. So it's the answer that every engineer knows. Like everybody's going, oh my God, of course. Why wouldn't you use cloud? It's super fast, right? I can do things. I can test things. I can try things super fast. I can try things by the sip. I can pay a few pennies to test something out, or pay a few bucks to test something out instead of making $1 million bet.
And possibly even for free, I can test those things as well.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, they get free tier, right?
Innovation and velocity. That's why you go to cloud. And by the way, guys, it's not just IaaS. Now, FinOps, we're attacking sort of the IaaS problem, but the organization is going to cloud across the board, right? Look at Salesforce or HubSpot, right? CRM spending as well. We've experienced this where you start out at $100, but pretty soon it's $3,000 a month, and it just keeps going up because it's now designed around a SaaS deliverable service. It's the same problem as folks are experiencing with AWS and Azure, but organizations can't really ignore that the innovation and benefit is all there in the cloud and using these services. So let's talk then about let's jump into the benefits of incorporating FinOps in the organization. So what does FinOps as a practice bring to the organization?
Visibility into cloud spend and utilization where there hasn't been before, right? More so than just looking. It allows you to take that data not only to understand what my costs were, but also what my costs are going to be, so that I can make better decisions about how I leverage technology. It also get, it's like this. What we used to say this. It's like, okay, first tell them what you're going to do, then communicate along the way while you're doing said thing, right? It's like you keep on bringing people along. This is a way to bring the organization along with everything that's going on from a cloud utilization perspective. Communicate early, communicate often, make sure the right stakeholders are there so that they have all the information they need to understand what decisions the business may make and how its effect may be on expenses from a cloud utilization perspective. So to me, the benefit is bringing everybody together, giving the visibility the organization needs, and then honestly, leveraging the power of the innovation and velocity that you can achieve. So that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to become quicker to respond to my competition, to grow the company from a revenue standpoint, and to make sure that I'm driving my unit costs down as I'm doing so.
If I were to tie it back to 3 episodes ago, I agree with all that, by the way. If I were to tie it back to 3 episodes ago, you're right, brings transparency. It forces data-driven decision making. It forces it, which honestly, in the old procurement cycle was guess, right? You're trying to guess at what the next 3 to 5 years is.
Remember the OSNFU.
We're not going to say what that means. It's O blank, Nick blanked up. So that was how we would build. We would actually build margin into products for the product manager messing something up.
Yep.
And now we can actually have real data around the unit economics.
Correct.
And actually understand in real time the cost of a product, and we can adjust it like real time. We can actually change our COGS real time. Mm-hmm. So it brings with it this data-driven kind of efficiency in decision-making, which is extremely powerful. It also brings with it real-time feedback, which we have not had pre-cloud, right? This we've always tried to achieve it. We would buy these crazy, complex monitoring solutions. We would, monitor packets on the network. We would monitor the internal workings of our database servers. We would implement really, hefty monitoring stacks to try and understand, not just from a kind of security and performance perspective, but really trying to understand like what we were using where and how we were using it to get our unit economics. And now this real-time feedback is kind of inherent in the cloud and how you deploy and how you use it. So it's incredible, what the benefits of FinOps are in those 2 areas. I would say another benefit, to state it, you brought up earlier that projects stall when you have this kind of chaos.
Every organization.
FinOps, absolutely. FinOps actually avoids that. It stops that stalling. It forces you to make data-driven decisions around whether a project should continue or should be cut. And it stops this kind of limbo that projects go into and actually get really
thrashing.
Because when a project, well, yeah, I mean, it thrashes your labor, but it forces like this. There's this weird ignorance that happens, and I don't mean to call anyone ignorant. I'm talking about myself and my own experiences.
Humans.
you kind of freak out, and so you stall a project. But everything that's underlying that project, all the stuff you deployed for it, is still costing you money every month. You just stopped working on it. So it rationally doesn't make any sense, but in the business, it's the knee-jerk reaction.
And I wasted my time, right? Think about it. So if we could give some predictability to what a project may or should may or should cost in the future, then we can start to make decisions before we invest the engineer's time in a project. How many times have you heard from an engineer at like how many projects they've invested dozens to hundreds of hours in that just kind of go by the wayside because of something like this, because it was stalled, people didn't understand the true cost of this and that. It's just like, to me, it's the ability to help the engineers, to help the organization save time, speed up projects, and actually focus on projects that they're going to complete is also a benefit.
I think we'll cover this in a future episode because this is such a big topic. I think that internally, in organizations, projects are just as susceptible to the economics of building new products. Like 1 in 10 products succeeds fantastically. 3 in 10 products actually just kind of make it, really to market and do something, but 7 to 10 of them die. And I think that's the way that projects work internally inside of organizations. In my experience, inside of working in larger organizations, there's a whole lot of stuff that like gets done and is delivered and everybody rah-rahs, and then the project team sort of breaks up, and then 2 years later, is anybody using it?
Yeah, and these things are already happening for other reasons. And so to me, it's like, let's not make cloud, or the lack of visibility and understanding the cloud, let's not make that another reason why.
Right. Let's make it a reason to kill the thing early. Right.
Correct.
To shut the project down. So I think we've kind of hit on all the benefits. I think the parting thought to hit on here is thoughts on repatriation. We see this all the time. Pre-FinOps discipline in an organization. There's this chaos. There's this feeling of lack of control from the stakeholders, from procurement, from finance. They feel a lack of control, and the engineers are going like, no, this is the most powerful thing since Henry Ford took the horse and made a car out of it. Like, this is incredible. And I think that repatriation starts getting talked about. What does an organization lose if they don't choose to implement FinOps and instead choose to repatriate their workloads?
Well, one, I would definitely take a look at it on a case-by-case basis, right? Because it's very much business. The context is the business, right?
Right workload, right place, right?
Exactly, right. The cloud is a tool. It's not necessarily a destination, although it is. It's like, I have this little tool bag, right, that I have in the house, right, that has like a screwdriver and a bunch of stuff. Going to the cloud is like walking up to that huge like Matco red toolbox with all the ball bearing drawers that slide out, and it's got every single tool I could ever possibly need to fix my car in it, right, or fix anything in my house. So that's the difference.
I feel like you're taking a dig at me.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to talk at your level. No, just kidding.
Right.
Hey, man, that's how I grew up too. I remember how much pride my dad had in his toolboxes. Man, that was he would carry those from job to job, right? And moving toolboxes is not very easy. They're pretty heavy, but nonetheless, right? Repatriation, in my opinion, there's obviously cases for it, but most of the time it comes from lack of visibility. Not just lack of visibility into your cloud utilization, but also lack of visibility and understanding of what that actually costs me if I repatriate it. There are plenty of articles, blog posts by people who have looked at repatriating their infrastructure only to find out that it's not that much cheaper on site. And again, cloud isn't necessarily about the cost savings. It costs about the same as long as you're doing it correctly, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's very similar. But if you don't know that, you're probably not going to be able to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would finish that thought with whiplash, which is what you're going to do to the organization. Yeah. Whiplash is extremely expensive, and it's fear-based decisions, because there's chaos, because there's lack of understanding. It really is becoming a fear-based decision then to kind of, okay, I'm going to move everything back. That's the wrong approach. It is right workload in the right place. Unit economics should drive where workloads sit. Mm-hmm. And that means some workloads, frankly, should not sit inside a cloud or be repatriated. You shouldn't be doing them at all. They should be a SaaS service. They should be offloaded to someone else.
Right.
So helping, bringing FinOps into your organization is going to, the biggest benefit is this data-driven decision-making that's going to help you decide where the best location for a workload should be. I have no pony in that, right? I don't care if you run it in the cloud versus on-prem versus go and find somebody to do it for you. In fact, I love it when services do things for me so that I don't have to take care of them anymore. So I think that's probably maybe the parting benefit. Jason, any parting thoughts for our listeners?
Don't repatriate until you understand your unit cost economics.
That's right. Well, and if you need help, reach out to us. We're happy to consult. We've done this a number of times. So, of course, head out to tenacity.ai, download the Cloud Optimization Handbook, check out our platform, and tune in for the next episodes where we continue to deep dive into FinOps. Thanks for listening, everyone.